Hi there, welcome to Real Life on the Homestead in Ontario. Today is Christmas cookie baking day, and I have been going for a while. The sweatshirt has come off because I am so hot, but I'm ready to make my pizzelle. And this is a wafer thin, beautiful, light tasting cookie, great for the holiday season, great for any time really. And so simple. The only thing is you need the cooking iron. You can get an electric one or you can get a stovetop. The electric one is 100 times easier. So what I'm gonna do is start off, I'm quadrupling my recipe. So right now I have 12 eggs, but you need 3 eggs and 3/4 cups of sugar into a mixer. And this here is the creaminess. You want to get that golden yellow color that's turning a pale, pale color. And I'm going to let that go for a second while I get my butter ready. For the recipe, I need 1/2 cup of melted butter. I have my unsalted butter that I canned. So this is a 2-cup measure. And for four recipes, that's perfect. So I'm just gonna open this up. Look at that, canned butter. Yes, it's a wonderful thing. I'm just gonna place this in the microwave on melt, and I'll have my melted butter, and then I will let it cool. I just noticed that when I have the mixer going, you can barely hear me. So I am going to describe what I'm doing and then turn the mixer on. As you can see, this is the pale yellow color you're looking for. That is your egg and sugar mixture. To this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of anise seed powder. You could use anise extract. Remember, I'm quadrupling my recipe, so don't panic when you see the quantities. Now that's mixed nicely in with the egg mixture, egg and sugar mixture that is. So now I'm going to change from a whisk to my paddle, and I'm going to add the dry ingredients slowly. Now that we've added the spices, I'm going to add the melted butter. And the recipe is 1/2 cup of melted butter that has been cooled to each recipe. Now, even though I know very well that my jars are 2 cups, I still wanted to double check that I had the right amount. And now we're going to get the dry ingredients. Super, super simple. All-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cups, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now my baking powder was getting a little clumpy, so I just basically put it through a little stiffer to make sure that it's nice and fluffy. So again, I'm quadrupling my recipe, so don't panic. And I've got my flour already in here, and I'm just using a whisk to make sure that everything's nicely incorporated. The traditional recipe does not call for salt. I always add a pinch of salt to any of my sweets because I find it does improve the flavor. So now that everything's nicely incorporated, we're slowly going to add this to our egg batter. I add just a little bit at a time to make sure that things are incorporating nicely. And that is how complicated this batter is. Not hard at all. Anyone can do this. Like I said, the only thing is you need to get yourself a Pizzelle iron. And I suggest you go to thrift stores because people tend to buy them, never use them, and then get rid of them really cheap. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a double duty. I'm going to be cooking up the pizzelles in the iron. And while those are being cooked, I'm going to be molding my sweet potato cakes because it's a heavy pot. As they're ready to mold, I have the pizzelles cooking. Double duty, because why stand around and wait for an iron to cook up? I also need to get rid of some of these dishes because they're really piling up. This is my Pizzelle iron, and it does look like Teflon, but it's not. It's cast iron. This is about 35 years old, and it works really well. I've had it for a long time. Every time I start off, just the first round, I always oil it just a little bit with ghee. And then I'm going to use a zipper bag. I like to use the freezer ones because they're a little tougher. And I just cut off the corner after I put in some of my batter. And that way I could just squeeze it on and make pretty much golf ball size. I don't use a piping bag because this is a great way to do it. And then when I'm done, the bag goes in the garbage and we're good to go. I know a lot of these waffle irons and Pizzelle irons are now Teflon. So I will link one in the description box that is aluminum because I couldn't find a cast iron one to link for you. And like I said, I've had this one for a long, long time. And this is very simple. I just keep going over and over. I say the best size is about a small golf ball. Like not a full golf ball size because that would be too big and it'd come out the sides. But it takes 30 seconds. And you can do them a little darker or less dark depending on how you like them. I like them pretty much on the lighter side. And I always, as I finish, I put them on the cooling rack. And as they cool, I stack them. And it's just basically going back and forth. And for, if you think about it, 120 that I'm going to get from 4 batches, 30 seconds each, it's going to take me about an hour. So it's not too much. I don't do this often, so I don't have to think, oh my goodness, it's so much time to cook these. I do that for the holiday season. Sometimes I'll do them for parties because they're a nice light snack. I do them for friends on request. But here we go. I just keep going. And I don't think you need to watch me do 120 of them. I just wanted you to get the idea of how simple this is. And you can do this too. It's not rocket science. You're smart enough. It's just getting that iron. You need to get one. Now I'm moving along quite well, but I do want to show you something else you can do with these little cookies. While they're warm, you can roll them into a cone shape or even a tube shape. And as they cool, so you place it on your rack in the shape that you want, and as they cool, they hold that shape. So you can use these as ice cream cones, basically to fill with any special fillings that you want. If you want that tip to hold liquid in, like, a custard, just dip it in something like melted chocolate. But this is really simple. And that time that it took me to put the next two on, this is already hard and good to go. So just another thought of what you can do with these wonderful, wonderful cookies. And here we have it. 120 beautiful, beautiful Pizzelle. Oh, did you see that cone in the middle there? That was my demo for you. It is now the next day, but since we had cookie baking all day yesterday, the kitchen was a disaster. So once I got it cleaned up and organized, it was too dark to record. So this is our Pizzelle. We got lots of them. I've already started to pack up some. I'm going to give these as this year's neighbor gifts for Christmas. I always like to give my neighbors a baked good as a Christmas. I appreciate who you are and how you work in my community. Homesteading community is absolutely fantastic, and I always like to let my neighbors know that I appreciate them. And I'm glad they're around and that we're friends. So with these Pizzelles, they are a very light snack. It's a traditional recipe, but listen to this. Hope you can hear the crunch. Can you hear that crisp break? It is really a lovely, lovely cookie to have on hand. Tea, coffee, works great. Remember, as a kid, I liked them just with a glass of milk. If you want to get very decorative and you want to make a beautiful plate of these, because one side it looks like a waffle, the other side it looks like a snowflake. So if you wanted to get decorative, you can just put these all on a plate and then sprinkle with some powdered sugar or icing sugar. These ideas are endless. You could dip half of it in chocolate. Like I showed, you can make them into little cones. When you make it into a cone, you can put ice cream in it, ice cream cone. You could also stuff these with, let's say, a whipped cream, ricotta, like a sweetened ricotta is really nice in these. The other thing you can do is just whip a bunch of berries and whipped cream and fill them in there. So the possibilities are endless and you can play with it and enjoy it. So I hope you've enjoyed our little Pizzelle making adventure. Share it with your friends because, you know, they may like to try it. Most of all, go out, live your best life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for the next recipe. I'm going to be making that pecan pie without corn syrup that everybody's been requesting. So that should be coming up shortly.